Okay, so we're going to start off talking about on MITech TV today the Comerica Hatch Detroit contest, and I have Victoria Katansky. Did I get that right?
You did.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about that. I always assume that that some people in the audience, aren't familiar with whatever it is that we're talking about. So let's just start with a basic backgrounder on what is the Comerica Hatch Detroit contest.
So the Comerica Hatch Detroit contest is a contest of Hatch Detroit that launches new businesses into the public eye. We receive quite a few hundred submissions each year, and through a group of several people, we narrow it down to a top 10, and those 10 get propelled into the public view for votes, and the winner receives a $100,000 prize from Comerica Bank, in addition to technical services and support to help them get open from Hatch Detroit and TechTown.
And I believe that there's other winners too, besides just the grand prize winner. There's other prize levels, I think, isn't there?
Not monetarily, but we do pride ourselves on helping all of the businesses that make it into the top 10 get open. So we've had, over the 9 years of the contest, we've helped to open 49 of the businesses that have come through our door. So more than half of them have opened so far. And we have a few that decided not to open, and we have some that are in the process of opening as we speak.
Can you point to any real big success stories, like a couple of those 49 that have really made it big?
Well, we have quite a few. I think they're all very successful, but Sister Pie is probably one you've heard about. She's in West Village, and she's a recipient of, been nominated for James Beard Award. Baobab Fair in Midtown is one of my favorite stories personally. We had such a wonderful time working with him on getting him open. Batch Brewing Company, we have, let's see, Live Cycle Delight is one of them. Several you'll hear about all over. Rocco's Italian Deli is another one that's come through our doors. Just some really good places. Are you familiar with any of those?
Some of those names, yes. Yeah. I don't live in Detroit anymore. I live 45 miles away in Ann Arbor, so a lot of those stores I'm not frequenting. Right. What's the basic qualifications to submit? I mean, I imagine there's certain limits. You can't be a really, really big company that is mostly focused on startups, right?
Yeah, so we define the criteria as somebody who's going to open a retail space. So we're really specific about it being something that you can go in and purchase something and come out with it. Our sweet spot is probably about the total budget, about $450 to $650 in total pricing. But we actually look at ourselves as the beginner of the process. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a complete concept like totally ironed out, but you do have to be able to get it up and running rather quickly. So we don't expect you to already have a space in mind. We don't expect you to, have all your funding already. We're usually the beginning of the funding process for people.
All right, so you're really a seed funder then in the acronym of private equity finance.
Yeah, it's the beginning. It's the money to help them leverage more funding for their business. Okay.
And we finally have Mr. Roush joining us here. Stand by. So wait till Matt comes in. You've been doing this since, I believe, 2019, right?
No, we've been, the last contest we had was in 2019, but the organization began in 2011, and I joined it in 2012.
Well, 10 years then. Okay. Yeah, and I see the renowned Matthew Roush has joined us. So we're talking about the Comerica Hatch contest. You have any questions here for Victoria?
Well, let me let you ask the next one so I can get up to speed here on what we're talking about. Since I just got here.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we were just talking about how the contest officially started on March 15th, that the winner gets $100,000. And that essentially it's you don't have to have the whole concept worked out. It's more of a seed round. But let me get into more specifics with that, Victoria. I mean, assuming they got to have a business plan, and what's the minimum qualifications, I guess?
The minimum qualifications are that they fill out the application we have online right now. they don't actually have to have a business plan at that time.
Wow.
We have seen that with our process and with our partners, sometimes our best winners and our most successful ones are the ones that we can help foster through the entire process of opening up. And so, you know, with our new relationship at being housed in TechTown, we have a lot more things that we can offer our contestants as they go through the process of opening.
Yeah, so you've been behind some pretty successful startups here in Detroit. Why don't you give us a couple of examples of startups that have come through Hatch and have succeeded?
Sure. We talked about a few of them already, but I think, you know, some of the ones that, you know, that a lot of people know about are, as we said, Sister Pie, Live Cycle Delight, but we have some others that Rocco's that is in Midtown, Bird Bee, Norma G's. They range from businesses that sell goods like a women's clothing store to being food businesses and different bars and restaurants and things like that. And, you know, it's been really helpful that Comerica Bank increased the prize in 2019 to $100,000. Prior to that, it was a $50,000 prize. But the cost of opening businesses had increased so considerably during that time that we were able to talk to Comerica about increasing their prize money, and they followed through and supported us in that decision. And in 2019, we were able to award $100,000 for the first time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Go ahead,
No,
Matt.
go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, I have a list of some of the important dates that we need to keep an eye on. But Victoria, why don't you kind of go over those? Obviously, it started on March 15th, but there's a bunch of other dates on down the line that I saw in the press release.
Yeah. So the most important date, I think, for people who want to be a part of the contest is to remember that submissions have to be submitted by May 12th. We ask that you don't wait until May 12th to put in your application and freeze up the system. But definitely by May 12th, if you're after that, you won't be considered for this year's contest. We take some time. We have hundreds of them, and we really read every single application, and we work with a group of people to help determine what applications come through. And so on the 16th of July, we'll be announcing the top 10 for this year. And that's a really important part of the process, because once we announce 10, they become our alumni. So even if they don't win, they can't reapply with the same idea. And that's because they get so much press and so much attention that it would make it unfair for the next year. So at that time, those 10 become our alumni. We work with them through TechTown and through the Hatch Detroit. And then finally, the voting will open right after the announcement on June 17th. And I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is that it's a very fast-paced program. So by July 21st, if you're involved, you will know that you have won $100,000. That's when we announce the winner.
Huh.
And one of the things I thought was interesting about this is there's plenty of pitch competitions, there's plenty of business ideas out there, but you're looking for people to open a brick and mortar location.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, our intent is more about community development and economic revitalization. So the entire program, it's a fun way to get people involved in a vote and announce a small business, but it also provides small businesses the online recognition that's often very hard for them to get without a professional PR company or something like that. But the ultimate goal has always been for Detroit residents to have a more walkable community and to spur economic development. But the most important part of that is to ensure that small businesses have a role in this Detroit and Hamtramck and Highland Park that's being built now. And that it's not just, chains and things that don't highlight the uniqueness of the city of Detroit.
If I recall, maybe I'm confusing contests. When you get to the top 10, then it becomes a People's Choice Award kind of thing. Or is that a different contest?
No, the people do get to vote, and that vote does come into consideration pretty strongly on who will win the contest. But we have the people vote from 10 to 4. And then the 4 people compete in front of live judges that are experts in the field of community development and revitalization, who are the people that they would get their next round of funding from, or that maybe own real estate, are involved in real estate development. Ultimately, at that event, which is called our Hatch Off, they will give the recommendation of who should win the $100,000 prize, taking into consideration the public vote along the way.
So who do you pick for the judges in this? Do you have like celebrity judges, successful business people? Who do you have?
So it's actually a pretty complicated process of picking the judges, because we need to make sure Detroit has such a strong ecosystem of support. We need to make sure that none of the people that are judging helped intimately with the 4 people that are up on stage. So we have to make sure that it's always like a fair, even playing ground. But it tends to be some of our alumni are judges. We've had Ned Stabler, the director of TechTown, as our judge 1 year. So we have people that are intimately in the business of opening and supporting small businesses, but not necessarily know the 4 people on stage.
Where does TechTown come into play on this? You mentioned Ned, who Matt and I know quite well, but where do they folks go to TechTown to get some sort of coaching or something, or how do they play into this?
So for the contest itself, we're together. TechTown and Hatch Detroit are an entity. We are a program of TechTown as of 2022. And as far as coaching, our alumni fit within their small business support system network. But at this time, because the prize is actually going through TechTown, there's not, people can't come directly to us and ask for support on their applications. But many of the people who have already gone through the programs there potentially will be applying. So, we really take it strongly that we don't help people with their applications directly. That's something that they have to do on their own and seek support from the many groups that exist in the city to help them.
Okay, well, we're down to the last couple of minutes of the segment. So why don't you let people know how to reach out if they want to apply, if they want to help, if they just want more information in any way, shape, or form.
So all of our information is actually on the Hatch Detroit website, which is HatchDetroit.com. We also have information being broadcast through our TechTown channels. They definitely could call, TechTown, or email any of the people that they know to get information directly. But definitely following us on our social channels is the best bet to get the most up-to-date information through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. On our website. Any of those things will have everything that they need. And if there's really a specific question, they can email us at info@hatchdetroit.com.
And once again, that deadline, even though it started on March 15th, the deadline is you got to get your paperwork in by
11:59 on May 12th.
Okay.